This is Bridge with Stephen, and today we're going to have our third of 4 parts on the subject of hand evaluation. Now we're going to be talking about beyond points. In the first 2 parts we talked about high card points, length points, shortness points, valuation points, and we also talked about how the way that, whether the points are in the form of, say, an ace versus 2 queens, and whether the points are collected, concentrated in one suit, or whether they hit our high suits. Those were all features of points that helped us evaluate hands. What we're going to do now is talk about several other ways of evaluating a hand, besides points, and in the next session, which will be the final one, we're going to talk about how we put all this together to actually make decisions at the bridge table. Okay, first we're going to talk about double fits. When we have 2 8-card fits or longer in a hand, the hand becomes more powerful, even at any given number of high card points. If we look at these 2 hands, and we've seen hands similar to this in the past, what we have here is an 8-card fit, 9-card fit in spades, a 9-card fit in hearts, and what we have is a long suit on this side with shortness here, a long suit on this side with shortness here, and the bottom line is that these 6 high card points and these 7, 9, 16 high card points combine to produce a slam. We're going to have no spade losers probably, no heart losers probably, no diamond losers probably in one club. So it's the idea of having a double fit here, and in this case combined with the combination of long suits and short suits in both hands that makes these 22 high card points so capable of taking tricks. Now we're going to mention the rule of 20, which is sometimes called the rule of 22 when you add the quick tricks to this total, but we're going to use what everybody calls the rule of 20, and that is if the number of high card points in your hand plus the length of your 2 longest suits is greater than or equal to 20, you have a rule of 20 hand. And that's a rule we're going to employ when we're making decisions about opening in the first or second seat. Now let's look at quick tricks. What quick tricks do is give us credit for our high cards being aces and kings and being concentrated. Let me show you some of the commonest numbers here. An ace-king in the same suit is worth 2 quick tricks. An ace-queen in the same suit is worth 1.5 quick tricks. A king-queen or an ace is worth 1 quick trick, and a king is worth 1/2 a quick trick, provided it's guarded. So as we can see, if we have an ace in one suit and a king in another suit, we have 1.5 quick tricks. But when we have our ace-king in the same suit, it's 2 quick tricks. Notice also that quick tricks don't give us any credit for queens unless they're accompanied by a higher order. So this queen makes that ace 1.5 quick tricks, and this queen turns this king from 1/2 quick trick into 1. So like I said, this is an important number, and when our points are in the primary honors, aces and kings, and when they're clustered, they're more valuable. Now let's talk about control count, which isn't used a lot. The commonest place we'll see control count used is maybe in response to a strong 2-club opening bid. What control count does is it gives us a separate check to evaluate how good our hand is, and I'll mention it more when we get to the last board. But we give ourselves 2 controls for an ace and 1 for a king. Now I want to mention the law of total tricks, which states that it's appropriate to bid to the level of our combined trumps. So if you're my partner and you've overcalled in hearts, and I have 4-card heart support, I know you have at least 5, I have 4. According to the law of total tricks, it's safe to bid up to 5 plus 4 equals 9 tricks, or the 3 low. Not everybody buys into this. It's pretty popular, but not uniformly so. Now let's look at something called playing tricks. What this refers to is the number of expected tricks in hand with the longest suit as trump. So let's look at a couple of examples. Look at this hand. This might be a 3-heart preemptive opening bid for you. This hand has 6 playing tricks because it has a 7-card suit missing the ace. If this was my hand as declared, with no help from dummy, I can pretty much guarantee that I can make 6 tricks. I'll take 6 out of 7 hearts. With this much better hand, a strong 2-club opener probably, we have probably 7 tricks in spades, an eighth in hearts, and a ninth in diamonds. So we have 9 playing tricks. This is a number that we use when we're trying to decide whether we're going to open 2 clubs with less than 22 points, and also for some preemptive calls. This is a measurement of the texture of our suit. We could have the same spots, but if they were rearranged in another way, let's suppose that the queen was taken out of here and stuck over in one of these suits, the number of playing tricks falls because the texture then becomes kind of serrated. We like to see sequences like King, Queen, Jack and Ace, King, Queen, Jack in order to be able to make a playing trick assessment. Now we'll look at losing trick count, which is very important. Here's how we measure losing trick count. First of all, we take the 4 suits and measure and count the losers in each one. A suit cannot have more than 3 losers. It also cannot have more losers than the length of the suit. So no doubleton can be more than 2 losers, and no singleton can be more than 1 loser. Okay, so a suit headed by the ace, king, queen, it may be ace, king, queen, 4th, 5th, whatever, will have no losers because we have the ace, the king, and the queen. If we were missing any one of those, we would have at least 1 loser. A singleton ace has no losers. A doubleton ace, king has no losers, and a void has no losers. So these are the kind of suits that will have no losers. Now, these suits, these first 2 have 2 of the top 3 honors. This one's missing the queen, this one's missing the ace. So they each have a loser. This is a doubleton with the ace. Remember I said you can't have more losers than you have cards in the suit. So I can't have more than 2 losers here, and I don't even have 2 because I have the ace, so I have 1 loser. King X is the same, 1 loser. And any singleton, any small singleton is a loser. These are 2 loser suits. Ace, empty. Queen, empty. Queen, doubleton. Any doubleton. That's small. And then these are suits with 3 losers. They're missing the ace, the king, and the queen, and they're at least 3 cards long. Now I should mention that there's such a thing as modified losing trick count. I think it's mostly associated with a man by the name of Ron Klinger, but I may be mistaken about that. What this idea takes into account is the fact that an ace-queen is not the same as an ace small, is not the same as king X. They're all rated as 1 loser. This probably should be considered half a loser. This is a better suit than this suit. This suit will almost certainly take a trick. This suit might not if the ace is badly placed. So maybe this should be evaluated a little higher than this one. Maybe this is, instead of calling this 1 loser, maybe we should call this 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 losers. The point being we make a mild adjustment because these suits are really not as equal as the losing trick count would suggest they are. Look at these 2 suits. According to this way of looking at losing trick count, they're both 2 loser suits. But we have about 3 chances out of 4 of making 2 tricks with this suit. If we finesse twice, unless we find both the king and the queen behind us, we find either or both of those honors over here, we're going to take 2 tricks. This suit doesn't have any realistic chance of taking a second trick. So this would probably be called, instead of 2 losers, maybe 1 1/4 losers. And this one, of course, is 2 losers. These 2 suits are definitely not equal, but they'll both be considered 2 loser suits. So maybe this one should be considered 2 1/2. And then here's another example. These are all 3-card suits. They're all missing one of the top 3 honors. This one's missing the queen, this one's missing the king, this one's missing the ace. Are they equal? Well, I don't think so, but this is modified losing trick count. And you can look up more on that subject on the internet if you'd like. Now I'm going to show you some example hands and show you how these extra ways of assessing hands bring out features that aren't given to us by high card points alone. I've filled in this chart over here, but I wanted to conceal it for a moment just to give you a chance to look at these hands and decide for yourself which is the best hand. If you just use high card points, you're probably going to go with these 2 and say that they're equivalent, and that these 2 are equivalent. Actually, this hand has been turned into this hand just by taking the 6 out of here and sticking it elsewhere. This 6 was, anyway, these are pretty much the same spots with just the cards rearranged a little bit. Okay, this probably shouldn't have a 5 here. Let's do it like that. All right, 13, 13, 11, and 11. Now when we look at these other features, we're going to see that really this is the best hand up here. This is the hand you're going to want. How many quick tricks are in this hand? 1.5, another half, another half. There's 2.5. What's the control count? 2 for the ace, 1 for the king, 1 for the king, that's 4. What's the losing trick count? We have 1 loser in spades, we have 2 losers in hearts, 2 losers in diamonds, and 2 losers in clubs. So 1, 2, 2, 2 is 7 losers. And is this a rule of 20 hand? Well, the high card points are 13. The 2 longest suits are 5 and 3 is 8. 13 and 8 is 21, so yes, this is greater than or equal to 20, and it is a rule of 20 hand. When we do the same evaluation for this hand, what we find is that even though it also has 13 points, because this hand has its 13 points in primary honors, principally, an ace and 2 kings, and this one's missing that ace, it has the 2 kings, the hand is not nearly as good. It only has 1 quick trick. Each of the kings is worth a half. And of course, since the kings are only worth 1 control, this hand has a control count of only 2. The losing trick count is up to 9 now. We have 2 losers here, 2 losers here, 1 loser here, and 3 losers here. Did I count that right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This should say 8. Now let's look at this, and it's also a rule of 20 hand because 13 points, and 4 and 3 is 7, is a total of 20, so yes. This 11-point hand has 3 quick tricks. 2 for the ace king that are together, and 1 for the, this ace over here. That's 3 quick tricks. That's more than either of these 2 up here. The control count is 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 controls, more than either of these hands. Losing trick count, 1 in spades, 2 in hearts is 3, 4, 5, 6. They should say 6. It's also a rule of 20 hand. And then this hand down here also has the 11 higher card points, has the same 3 quick tricks, has the same 5 controls, but the losing trick count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And no, it's not a rule of 20 hand. So what we can see is this is actually the best hand. 1, 2. Okay. Sorry for that. All right, now let's look at this nice chart over here. It may be a little intimidating at first, but this is learnable. First, what we're going to look at is a series of opening bids. Their high card point count, their quick tricks, their control count, and a losing trick count for these opening hands, these responses, and these combined hands. This is an opener and responder combined. This is the most important line to remember right here, if you can remember this. A 1-level suit minimum opening bid is typically about 13 to 15. You might call that 12 to 15, 12 to a bad 15, however you want, but in this range roughly. It generally has 2.5 quick tricks, 4 controls, and 7 losers. That's a typical 1-level minimum opening bid. An intermediate level opening bid, which is a little stronger, 16 to 18, 2.5 quick tricks becomes 3, 4 controls becomes 5, losing trick count drops from 7 to 6. And when we go up 1 more level to the maximum 1-level opener, the high card point jumps to about 19 to 21. Now 3 quick tricks becomes 3.5, 5 controls becomes 6, 6 losers becomes 5. One thing you may notice on this chart is that the sum of controls and losing trick count is generally around 11 when our points are in the form of ace, kings, queens, and jacks. When our points are almost all in the form of queen and jacks, for example, the control count will start to drop. If the control count and the losing trick count don't total 11, that tells you that the hand is a little top-heavy in primary honors or lacking it, depending upon whether the sum is higher or lower. Now, a typical a one-note trump opening bid is roughly the same as an intermediate level suit bid. It'll be about 15 to 17 points, and just like this line here, it'll be 3 quick tricks, 5 controls, and 6 losers. When we go to the 2-note trump opener, we're looking at a hand in this range roughly, 20 to 21, so not surprisingly, 3.5 quick tricks again, 6 controls, and 5 losers. When we open in the third seat, we can be a little light, so we might only have 11 points. We can have as few as 2 quick tricks, as few as 3 controls, and as much as 8 losers. A strong 2 club opening bid, when it's 22 points or more, will generally have 4 or more quick tricks, 7 or more controls, and 4 or fewer losers. And then finally, a weak 2 opening bid, if you play it in the 6 to 10 range, as most people do, will generally have a half to 2 quick tricks, 1 to 3 controls, and 7 to 9 losers. Sorry, dry mouth. Okay, now responses. A game forcing response is just the same as a one-level opener if you have a minimum game forcing response. Let's suppose you just have 13 points. You're going to have 2.5 quick tricks just like up here, 4 controls just like up here, and 7 losers just like here. But if your hand is better than that, let's say you have a 16-point game forcing response, you're going to look more like this one. Okay, a limit raise is going to look just like a third seed opener. This is about 10 to 12 points, just like a limit raise. So not surprisingly, or these numbers for the third seed opener were 2, 3, and 8. They're 2, 3, and 8 again here for the limit raise. The simple raise, which is a little weaker, shows about 6 to 9 points, is once again going to have fewer quick tricks, one half to 1.5, fewer controls, 1 less, and 1 more loser. And then finally, the one no trump response. The one no trump response will be just like the simple raise, 6 to 9 points. These numbers are all the same. And if your hand's too weak to bet at all, you generally will have 0 to 5. You may have 0 to 1 quick tricks, 0 to 1 controls, and 10 to 12 losers. Now, just take a moment to look at this. This is how we use losing trick count once we've found a fit. We add the losers in opener's hand to the losers in responder's hand, take that sum, subtract it from 24, and that's how many tricks we can expect to make. And that's why when opener has 7 losers with a minimum opening response, and responder has 7 losers with a minimum game forcing response, the total of opener and responder's losers will be 7 to 7 is 14, from 24 is 10, we can expect to take 10 tricks. And that's why game in a major, if we add a minimum one level opener with a minimum game forcing response, we're going to get 26 points, about 5 quick tricks, 2.5 and 2.5. We're going to have about 8 controls, 4 and 4. And the sum of the losers of both hands from 24, subtracted from 24, will be 3. So, well, that's not correct. We expect to have 3 losers in the 2 hands combined, but we expect to take 10 tricks. So this formula doesn't apply here. Game and no trump, roughly the same. Game in a minor, a little stronger. We need a few extra points, so we're going to need an extra half quick trick. We're going to need an extra control, and we'll have 1 less loser. We're only going to lose 2 tricks now. And game and small slam, we expect 33 points, 6.5 quick tricks, 10 controls, and we're only going to lose 1 trick. That's all for today.